Hello and welcome back to JoeSchaeferFlyFishing.com. I'm Joe Schaefer. Today I'm going to talk to you about essential tools needed to get started in fly tying. A lot of people go out, they'll go to a fly shop or they'll go to a big box store and they'll buy everything these guys tell them to buy. And really, to get started, you just need a few simple tools, and I'm going to go over those today. First off is the vise. The vise is the most important part of the whole deal here. Your vise, you want to make sure that you can cover all the ranges of flies that you want to tie. You want to make sure that it's easy for you to use and it's going to hold flies in there real well. My favorite just happens to be a Regal vise. It works off of a clutch system, so I can just pull that clutch back, stick my hook in there, and close the jaws. Makes it real simple, real fast. I don't have to mess with any knobs or anything like that. This is one of my personal preferences. There's many vices out there, but if you're going to get a vise, make sure that you spend the good money on a good vise. Don't buy these cheapos that you're going to be pissed off with, you know, a few flies in and you can't even stand it. Get a good vise that's going to treat you well and tie a wide array of hooks. On this vise, I can pull it on and off and change out the heads. This vise system, I have two heads here. One's for real small bugs, and then one goes from about 18s up to 2-aught hooks, 3-aught hooks. So I can tie just about everything with these two heads. A lot of the heads nowadays, these are older versions, but the heads nowadays, they can go all the way from size 30 up to 2-aught hooks and even bigger in some cases. So just make sure you get a real good vise starting out. I made that mistake many times going through vise after vise till I found a good one. So get a good vise that you can work with real easy right off the bat. Next up, we'll talk about bobbins. The bobbins, I tend to go with the brass or the steel balls at the end. I really found for balance wise and me holding them and keeping your flies together while they're hanging. These are real good to have. I definitely like the porcelain tubes. They're my favorite. As you can see here, you can get them in all different heads. You can get them for smaller thread and thicker thread, or the steel balls or the brass balls at the end. These are real good bobbins that I typically use all the time. Usually you want to get a couple of those to start out with, just so you can hang a couple spool of thread so you don't have to keep switching when you first start out. Next up is the whip finish tool. I always like this style of whip finish tool. It's real simple to use. Just make sure it rotates really good. That's one of the key things. Some of them come stiff and they don't rotate. It makes it a little bit tougher to tie your whip finishes with. But that's also a great tool to have. Scissors are very important. Make sure you have a good pair of real sharp scissors that you use on your threads and things like that, and then you have a second pair that you use on your wires and your leads and things like that. So make sure you have a good pair of scissors. I typically have 4 or 5 or 6 of these things, but to start out you probably only need 2 to start out. And then the last thing we'll go over is just a hackle tool. This helps with many applications. But when you're first starting out, when you're wrapping materials and stuff and you're not real comfortable with it, these are a good tool to have. Especially if you start working with these a lot, you'll see how easy it is to use them. I have big fingers, so I tend to use hackle pliers quite a bit. So this is another great tool to start out with, an essential tool that you kind of need for a lot of different applications in fly tying. Make sure it also rotates, and make sure it's got a good clamp at the head of it there. This rotating helps you wrap a lot easier. Thank you for watching this video on essential tools to get started in fly tying. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day.